Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. It is March 3rd, and I'm here to give you a little bit of an update. First of all, let me wrap up something from last night. After I finished recording about my retreat this weekend with my lake house stitchers, I was getting ready, clearing off my desk and kind of getting things set up for this morning, and I put out Nevermore so I could finish it first thing this morning. And I got to looking at it, and I thought, I ought to finish that now. So I did. So last night I stayed up and finished this beautiful moon, and I finished my Nevermore. This was gifted to me by Sue, and it was gifted to all of the Lake House Stitchers, and it's in the Halloween 2023 magazine. Nevermore Raven is the name of the pattern. But I finished it, and so now I can put that away to be fully finished soon. The next thing I did was do some catch-up stitching this morning. I had not had a chance to do my stitching for my bingo group yesterday. So, the call for yesterday was a new start of choice. Well, I had to have a new start for March, and it was 3 French hens. It's my third stocking of Annie B's Christmas stockings. And so I started it this morning, and I did 136 stitches in it. And I got the top branch completed. That seems to be what I get done when I start these, especially for my bingo board, because I did that on the first one and the second one, and now I've done it on the third one. And that's where I stopped. But like I said, that was 136 stitches. I only needed 100, so that was perfect. Worked out well. And now that has met a monthly requirement as well, because the monthly requirement is to start it, not to finish it. Although I will hope to come back and finish it by the end of the month. I like to do that. So the next thing for today on my bingo game is a new start of choice. I had it on my board twice, and who would have thought that it would come up back to back? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little compromise. For my British Baking Championship game, I have to stitch on Rudolph's Tree Farm. I have to stitch on Autumn in the Village and Nativity, and all of those I've used as across sticks. And unfortunately, I have to get 300 stitches in them. So I really need to work on those when I can spend a whole day on them. And I don't want to just start something new to be starting something new and put it away. So one of my monthly requirements is half of a block on Hawk Run Hollow. And the last time I stitched on it, I did the border, identifying the next block. So I think today what I'm going to do is, for my new start, I'm going to start my new block on Hawk Run Hollow. It is a new start of a sorts, and so I'm going to count it for that, and I'm going to work on that. So I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to get started on beginning that block that I had done the border for, and I'll put at least 100 stitches in it for bingo. And then if I want to put it back away for later to come back to, so I can get my British baking stitching done, I can do that, because I have already stitched on Hawk Run Hollow for the baking competition. But I can use it for my monthly requirement. I can start toward my monthly requirement. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and I hope to come back later this evening and share more stitching with you. In the meantime, everybody, enjoy your stitching, your crafting, whatever you're working on. Enjoy your day. Happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is March 4th, and my name is Dina, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about my cross stitch. So today I decided to work a little further on a project that I had worked on yesterday. Yesterday, I started on one of my monthly requirements. It was to work on Hawk Run Hollow, to try to get half a square on Hawk Run Hollow. And today's bingo call was for a spring or summer project, and I still had Hawk Run Hollow on my floor stand, and my Hawk Run is spring at Hawk Run Hollow. So I thought, well, this is fortuitous. This is great. So I went ahead and put another 107 stitches in it this morning, because yesterday I had put in 675 stitches trying to get to half the square. And so today I just kept going along with that square, putting those extra 107 stitches in. And I actually think I'm at a point where I would consider it just about halfway there. There's probably a little more stitching at the bottom because it's more full coverage at the bottom. But last month I did the bottom first and saved the top half for the second half of the month. For the next month, and I actually wound up going back and finishing the whole square. So this month I decided I would do the easier portion first and save the full coverage for later, because that's great for fill-in stitching when I'm zooming and that sort of thing. But here's where it got to. So I actually pulled this out yesterday because the bingo prompt was to a new start of my choice. So I chose to start a new square as a new start. And I started with the tree, and I did the tree and the two birds. Part of this over here was my 100 stitches for yesterday's bingo. And I just kept going, because then I thought, well, I'll see if I can't go ahead and get half my square done. So that is roughly half the square, but unfortunately all this part down here is stitched. So it's probably more stitches in the bottom half. But as far as the room, that's just about half of it. So I'm going to put it away for a while. I'm going to say that I've met my monthly requirement for that. But if I can pull it back out again later in the month, I will go ahead. There's an air balloon right here. I would like to finish that at least this month so that the whole top half is done. But as you can see, I came down here and did some stitching. So I'm making progress on that. And I wanted to share that with you this morning. I think I'm going to pull out my Autumn in the Village because I need it for my baking stitching, and I'm using it for a prompt. Now, I'm not using it for a prompt that needs 300 stitches. Oh, I am. I am using it for a prompt that needs 300 stitches in the Daily 30 group. So I need to put at least 300 stitches in it today. And that's good because I have all day to work on that, and I'll get that taken care of. And then tonight, I have a Zoom call, and I'll be stitching this evening. So I will either pull back out my Hawk Run Hollow and try to work on that balloon, or I will be at a point where I could stitch on one of my smalls or something for tonight. But I want to try to get Autumn in the Village done for my baking stitching, and also for the acrostic. And so that's what I'll be working on next. If I get some of that done quick enough, I'll pop back in here and share it with you. But in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. It's later on the 4th of March, and I'm here to show you the stitching that I got done this afternoon. I had to stitch on Autumn in the Village for part of my British Bake Off stitching. I needed to do 125 stitches in it, but it was also used for all 3 of my acrostics, one of which requires 300 stitches. So I knew I needed to get at least 300 stitches in it. So this will remind you of what Autumn in the Village looks like. And today I worked on it and I stitched 321 stitches, and I'll show you what I did. I came over here, I finished this line here, came down and started this line all the way back, came over here and started this line going out this way. And I was just going to keep doing this box until I finished at least 300 stitches, and I wound up getting 321. So that was plenty for that. So that meets another one of my British Bake Off stitches. And so the last two that I have are Nativity and Rudolph's Tree Farm. My next British Bake Off stitching that I did today was my Rudolph's Tree Farm. And this is the one that's Rudolph's Tree Farm that I'm working on. And today's assignment for this whip was to stitch 100 stitches on it. And I have stitched 107 stitches. And so let me show you what I did. So today I came inside here. I put 2 colors of yellow in here, which color completed those 2 colors for this whole piece. And then I started working on the little people and the horse and everything that's right in here. So I've got the top hats done for the 2 men, and I've got part of the mane done on the horse. So when you add all that together, it was 108 stitches. And because I have a feeling this one's going to be called on again in the game, and because I have a Zoom call to get ready for, I decided that would be enough. And I stopped there. So my plan now is to get out my temperature tree and get it ready to be stitching on it while I'm on my Zoom call tonight. And then if I finish that before the Zoom call is over, I can grab one of my other pieces that I've been working on, whether it be wordplay or whether it be peacock, or any of those that I want to stitch on. I really would like to stitch on something that's easy to see since I am on a Zoom call. So I'll have to think about what that is and have it in reserve sitting right next to me. So let me get that done, and then hopefully I'll be able to take tomorrow what I stitched on later this evening. In the meantime, everybody, happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. It is March 5th. This is Dina, and I am here to talk to you about my stitching so far today. I have 2 things I have accomplished, and one of them I accomplished last evening during my Zoom call, stitching with some of my stitching buddies through a Zoom. And then the other one I accomplished this morning. So let me share that with you. First of all, the Zoom call. I worked on my temperature tree, and I'll remind you, I have a computer mock-up of that from Stitchin' Mommy, Sarah Hughes. You can get that in her Etsy shop. And then I figured I would share it with you today. Pardon that crinkle of the paper, because I finished the month of February, and so I have a whole branch finished. So now you can see January and February are done, and I will start on March the next time I stitch on the tree. And this time I waited because I was traveling. I wound up waiting until the end of the month, and so there were about 9 leaves to do. And it still didn't take that long. It was about 92 stitches to finish out that branch of leaves. So it probably was a little more of than it probably took a little longer than I estimated, but I was busy talking and visiting on the Zoom call, so that was fun. Then this morning, I finished working on another piece up to a point where I'm going to put it away for a little while. I will work on it again this month probably, because I like to finish it in the month. But this is my third 12 Days of Christmas stocking. This one is 3 French hens. And I pulled this one out because I'm using my 3 French hens for part of the acrostic in the Daily 30 group. That acrostic is for crochet bag, And for the bee and bag, I'm using this one because the designer is Beez folk art. And this is what the book looks like. And you can see there's Beez folk art right here. And the designer's name is Annie Belcher. So the bee is for the designer. And I had to put 300 stitches in it, and I had only put in 130 so far when I started it. And the starting of it met my monthly requirement with my determined stitcher group to start the stocking. But I've gone back now and I've hit those 300 stitches. I actually made 354 total in it so far. And now I have posted it for that. And I've just left it on the Q-snap because I hope to pick it right back up soon. I'm thinking that I might take this with me Saturday. We have our stitching meetup on Saturday, and I might make it my Saturday stitch. But that is where I've gotten to on that one. So that is the stitching so far today. I will take a break now because we have a couch being delivered, and they've called and they're on their way, and we've already moved the couch out of the way, so we have a spot for it in our living room. And I have to go down and dog sit. So I keep Coco out of the way while we are receiving our couch. And then I can come back up and stitch some more. So that'll be good. I have one final stitch for Bake Off for this week. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and watch the British Bake Off show so that I can go ahead and get that stitching done as soon as possible. Mainly because I may wind up traveling next week. Our countertops are supposed to be installed on Monday. And then we would like to head down to our son's home and get him so he can pick up his car. And we thought, since we're traveling so far, it's a 5-hour drive one way, that we would go down and early and maybe run over to Hilton Head for a couple of days and then come back by and pick him up and bring him here. And then he could spend a day and a half with us and then drive his car back home. And that way we get to spend some time with him. We get to spend a little time at the beach. My husband loves to go to the beach in the off season because he likes to ride his bike or run. And it's flat at the beach, and so it makes it easier for him to do longer distances, and he would like to do that. And you know me, I take my stitching. We did check, though, the house we normally rent that you see me, film from with the big marlin over the table. They're remodeling. So we're not going to St. Simon's this time to our friend's house. We are actually going to have to see about getting a VRBO, and we haven't done that research yet, but we're going to be doing that the next day or two. I already have Coco booked, so she knows that we are looking to go, and I know she's available, so she's holding us a spot, and so I need to get my plans arranged sooner rather than later so I can tell her to either confirm it or give it up for somebody else who might need it. So that's where we are today. Once we get our couch situated and I get through with all of the arranging and whatever I need to do for that with my hubby, then my plans are to come up here and finish that last British Bake Off stitch, which is Nativity. And, in my monthly requirements, I'm supposed to put 500 stitches a month into Nativity. And so since I'm going to pull it out to work on it today, I can also look, if I watch, it won't matter because this is the final stitch for it for my British Bake Off. The person that was affiliated with Nativity was voted off this week. So it doesn't matter. I only have to have 75 stitches for the British Bake Off. So if I go toward that 500 stitches, no matter how much I get done, I've met my British Bake Off requirement. And then if I can get all the way to 500, I would like to get that done today. If not, I can get part of it done. And then I can pick it back up in the next day or two and maybe finish that 500 stitches and get that taken care of. So there you go. I like working on my monthly requirements as early as possible because then if I don't get them finished the first time I work on them, I know I have plenty of time in the month to come back and stitch on it. So that gives me kind of direction. I enjoy doing that. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. I hope I have a picture of a couch to share with you later. And stitching. And in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. Today is March 7th. It's Friday. Couple of things. First, next week's British Bake Off episode number 6 I've been watching, and I started stitching on it. I watched it last night, and I stitched my first prompt last night, which was 150 stitches for a handshake for Raoul. And the whip I have associated with that is a banner year. And I'll remind you, this is the banner year. And I am working on the much, the one in the middle now, to try to finish my 3. And that's what I got done. I have almost completed a second set of mittens, and I actually stitched 230 stitches to get that done. And I only needed 150. So I just wanted to go ahead and complete that color in the mitten while I was working on it. I was doing that last night while I was watching a show with my hubby. So that's where we are on that one. And since Raoul is still there, chances are that'll come out again and then in the coming weeks, which will be wonderful. Okay, so then I started a secret stitch that I can't share with you because it's for someone who watches my channel. And I stitched 434 stitches on that yesterday while my friend Juliana was here. And I have completed my portion of the stitch. It is going to be a round robin sort of thing. So anyway, other people will be stitching on it as well. And so I have, I've got that started, and so I can't share it with you yet, but when I fully finish it, I will. Then I got the call for this morning on my bingo. And my call this morning was, let's see, what number was it? It's a whip go call. So I have to work on one of my whip go calls. My whip go calls are Wordplay and Royal Games 2 for this month. So I pulled out my remaining Wordplay, which is January's. And I put in 365 stitches in this today because I wanted to finish this wagon. And I had the handle here, the handle you pull it with, and I had the first wheel done. So I did the second wheel, the leaf, and the wagon itself. And believe it or not, there are 2 colors in there. One is a few stripes through here, and the other is old brick. And so it variegates a lot, and it's hard to tell which color's where, but I love the effect. It does kind of look like wood, doesn't it? Or a metal that's been starting to weather. So anyway, 365 stitches in that was plenty because I only needed 100 for bingo. And so now I'm going to look at my acrostics and see if I can use it for anything on the acrostics because I put so many stitches in it. But, you know, I had originally stitched on this Wordplay as soon as I found out what my whip go calls were and said, well, I'll let that count unless I have to do a whole lot of it again. So now I have stitched another 365 stitches in it. So there you go. That has been good. And I'm not going to go ahead and keep stitching on it today to finish it because I have whip go call again on my bingo board. So between now and the 25th, this will be called again. And at that point, I may decide to pull it out and go ahead and stitch it when it's no longer going to be on my whip-go board, my bingo board, if I finished all of my whip-go calls, then, I'll go ahead and finish it at that point, because I'd like to finish it this month if I could. Today, I do get the privilege of taking a friend of mine out for her birthday for lunch, and we're trying a brand new restaurant that we've never been to, either of us, so that'll be fun. I'll tell you all about it, on whether we liked it or not when I get back. Hopefully, I'll have more stitching to share with you today. So I'm going to say farewell for now, and get busy stitching, and then I hopefully will come back later today and share with you what all I was up to. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Today is March 7th. It's Friday. I decided to tackle a big assignment today. I wanted to put my 500 stitches in Nativity today. I had stitched 163 stitches on it a day or two ago for a prompt for my bingo game. And so I continued on from there, and I put the additional 360 stitches in it today. So I'll remind you of what it looks like. There's my Teresa Wentzler Nativity. And today, what I stitched on was Joseph and the crib, or the manger. So I knew I wanted to finish Joseph's cloak, and I wasn't sure that I had counted exactly right the whole time, and just to make sure everything was going to line up okay, I went in and stitched the top row or two, depending on if I only had 1 or 2 stitches left in that color, on the manger all the way around to the side, and that told me don't go below there. So that way, if I was off at all on Joseph's cloak, then I could make sure I cut it off at the right point. So that helped. That was just sort of a safety net for me. But I finished Joseph's cloak. I am so pleased with how it's turned out. So now what's left, well, there's a lot left, but what I would want to do next would probably be to come back up here and back stitch Joseph and Mary and the baby, and get all of the back stitching up here done. I still have to go in here and put all of the little Algerian eyelets between, well, they're in here, all in here. I've got to put those in there. I don't have those in yet. But today's goal was to finish the people. And I did. I'm so excited. 523 stitches, and now Joseph's cross stitching is complete. And when I get ready to come back in here and backstitch it, it'll just pop, I think. You can even tell without backstitching where the sleeve is versus the cloak. I think that is amazing. And then, of course, this is where the manger will be. And then here's your bottom border. So I have this much left to stitch and backstitch, and then I can go into the border and put in those metallics and beads. So there you go. Getting there. Doing 500 stitches a month has really pushed this thing. I am tickled to death with it. So there you go. I've had my 3rd monthly requirement met today, and that was my 500 stitches in my Nativity. So I'm tickled with it. I hope you like it. It's really coming along, and I think it's beautiful. So I will put it away for this month, unless for some reason I feel energetic and want to pull it out again. But that would be after I finish everything the first time around. All my monthly requirements are met, my cross sticks are met. And today, in the Daily 30 group, in the weekly challenge that gets put out every 2 weeks, it's one I wrote, and it's about Labradoodles, Australian Heritage Labradoodles, which is what my Coco is. And so, I have to stitch on that. So I will be looking at those prompts again to refresh my memory and see what I can use for those. And I'll intersperse those into my stitching. And so there'll be hopefully a lot to share with you. I will let you get back to what you were doing now. My husband and Coco have been out for a walk. They should be back any minute now. And then we're going to eat dinner. So I'm hoping also to get to watch a little TV with my husband tonight. We watched Survivor last night. And tonight it might be either Matlock or a Reacher. I'm not sure what I could talk him into tonight. But we'll just sit on the couch with Coco and cuddle with her and watch a little bit of TV. I do have a stitching spot in my living room. And when I am watching TV with my husband now, I usually have a small there that I'm working on. And that way I can listen and watch TV, but I can also get something done. And then I don't feel like I'm missing being up here in my sewing room. And it lets me be with my hubby and my puppy, which is great. That's working out really well. So I'm going to say goodnight, and I don't think I'll have anything else to share with you today, but hopefully tomorrow I will, because tomorrow is our stitching day at the library. So I'm excited about going. I already have plans with a couple of ladies for lunch, and so I'm looking forward to that. I did mention that I was taking a friend for lunch to a new restaurant, so I can give you a review of that. This is a new restaurant down in Gainesville where I live, and it's on the square. It's called Stags, I think. Yeah, and it's a very upscale spot. Has a good variety on the menu. I say upscale because it's white linen tablecloths, and you have to have a reservation to get in just about. So, it's nice. Today, my friend and I tried their fried green tomatoes, and then she had a grilled chicken wrap, half a wrap with a small bowl of soup. And I got a strawberry salad with a grilled chicken breast, and it was delicious. They had a balsamic vinaigrette to go with it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I will give it a thumbs up. And I think my friend Barbara would like to go back there again soon. So we shall see. But anyway, it was a good day, good afternoon. So I'm going to, as I said, get everything put away here, maybe get me a project out that I could take downstairs with me tonight. And then tomorrow I get to go stitching with my friends at the library. Can't wait. So hopefully tomorrow night I can share something with you. My friend Donna is supposed to pick up a framed piece in the morning. She's going to be kind enough to pick me up and let me ride with her so I can see it too. And we'll take it over to the stitching meetup to share. And I have asked her if she will to come back by here on her way home and film with me so that we can share it with you. I can't wait. I hope she will. And so tomorrow might be a really special treat for you guys if my friend Donna comes by and films with me. I'd love it. So keep your fingers crossed. I have mine. And I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is March 8th. It is Saturday, and it's fairly late. It's after 10. And I am going to give you a brief summary of today's stitching meetup, and then show you what I stitched there, and then what I have been stitching at home. So two things. One, I took with me this morning to stitch on a project that I needed for my bingo game. My local bingo game, the number that was called for today was a specific project. It was the letter H by Nora Corbett. And so I needed to work directly on this piece. So I'll remind you of what that looks like. And of course I'm doing that because my last name starts with an H and I wanted this for my home. So I've gotten started on it. And today I actually put in, between stitching at the library and stitching some tonight while watching TV with my hubby, I put in 302 stitches all total. in my letter H today. So what I was able to accomplish was to finish her hair. The rest of that will be beads. To do this portion of this side of the H, and I took the vine further down to where I felt comfortable counting. The next places where that vine will be stitched, I wasn't comfortable counting that far. I'll wait and I'll stitch some of the leaves and things in between, and then I'll feel more comfortable about counting that again. But this one's coming along very quickly. My friend Donna looked at this today and she said, oh, you'll finish that before the end of the month. I hope I do. I'm hoping that I can. So I don't know, it won't be on my bingo game again as the letter H, but it could be used for something else. It could be used for a whip of choice, which I have on here, or it could be used for a whip closest to a finish, because the closer I get to a finish with this one, it will take on that mantle of being the closest to a finish. So we're not quite there yet. I'll show you why in a minute, but it is getting there. So I'm hoping by the time that one is called that I can pull this out and actually maybe get it finished. But that was great stitching. So let's talk about the library today. We had a wonderful meetup today. We had around 27 people. It was somewhere between 26 and 28. I can't remember exactly how many came in and out. And I forgot to look at the sign-in sheet again after everybody had signed in that was there. But here's what was interesting. We had 4 new people who had never been there before. It was amazing. Some of our regulars were helping others, some of their friends that own shops, online shops and things at Market in Nashville. So we were missing a couple of people that way. And we also had a couple of people who couldn't be there, either due to travel or illnesses and that sort of thing. So had they all been able to be there, we would have gone over 30 people today. I'm sure of it. But I am so tickled to have 4 new people. One was the lady that I invited. She had reached out to me after I mentioned on one of my videos that my husband likes to bike the Silver Comet Trail, and she's a big bicyclist and a stitcher, and she contacted me through Facebook Messenger, and we talked a little bit about that, and we talked about our stitching and how could we get together and stitch, and I invited her to come to our stitching meetup, and she came today. I was so excited. So it was great to meet Linda and to chat with her a little bit, and then we had one of our members she comes sporadically because she has conflicts in her schedule quite often, and so she's there usually every 2 to 3 months. And she showed up today with a friend who had never been there before, and so that was fabulous to get to meet, to see her, Suzanne, again, and then to get to meet her friend. We had 2 more new people, both of whom had been invited by people who come. So you just never know when someone's going to take you up on an invitation and go stitching with you, and then all of us got to meet new folks, which was wonderful. We had a good day today. It was beautiful. Several of us walked up the street and grabbed some lunch together, and others brought their lunch, but you know, we're fortunate there. We can eat right there because there's a kitchen right there in this room, right inside of it. And they don't mind if you eat in there, so that was wonderful. We had some great things on our brag table, and my friend Donna picked up Hawk Run Hollow today, and it was gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. But by the time we had an errand or two to run tonight, after we went to the stitching meetup, and by the time we got here, she really needed to get on home to her Harley, her little puppy, and let him out and let him play, and while there was still some daylight. And so we didn't film together today. And I did ask her if she would set it up at home and maybe film about it and send it to me so I could share it with you, but we'll see if she decides to do that or if she just decides to wait and do it with me later. Either way, I hope to get it to you because it is beautiful. So in addition to that, I started stitching this morning while waiting on my friend Donna to pick me up because we were going to ride together today. And then I came back to it tonight after I finished watching TV with my husband because I wanted to stitch one of my British baking components for this week. I am feeling a bit of a crunch on that because I am going to be going out of town next week. We are going to get to go see our son, and I'm ecstatic about it. So I would like to get this week's British baking stitching done before I leave town on Wednesday. So I have today completed one more of them. So this is the second one of this week that I've stitched, and I have two more after this. But today's stitching was to stitch for a person who was last in technical, but also got a handshake. So kind of a mixed performance, and that was Ruby, and Ruby is associated for me with my Rudolph's tree farm. So that was a total for those two things of 200 stitches, and so today I actually stitched 207 stitches in my Rudolph's tree farm. So I'm going to share that with you now, tell you what that consists of. I came in here and did more on this man. I did his face and hand and his scarf and coat and pants, and came over here because it was some of the same colors. And I did a little bit on the man that's sitting in the sled, or the sleigh. And so you can hardly tell probably, but he is right. He's right in here. If you can see, there's his top hat and his face. And then he's got this gray coat and pants. And then he's got a blanket, this bright red blanket over his lap. And when he's all finished and I backstitch him, you'll be able to see him a lot better. But 207 stitches included those two people that I did, and then I put another color of green in the trees all the way across. It's a brighter green. It is the brightest color of green in there right now, and you can see it's here in this window and all the way across. So I'm working my way down as I go. So right now, looking at what I've stitched versus what I haven't stitched, I do think that this might be my whip closest to a finish. And since it is in my British baking competition, I was wondering, it could get a whole lot more stitches in it. And so the chances of this one being finished this year through this British baking competition, I think is very high. So I'm excited about that. But tomorrow's call for my bingo game is my whip closest to a finish. So I think this one is it, possibly. It's really kind of a toss-up between that one and my one I worked on earlier today and my wordplay. So here's what I'm thinking for tomorrow. I'm thinking wordplay because I've already exhausted my wordplay opportunities for both Whip Go and my British baking competition, and I still want to finish it this month. And since I still have another piece I can work for Whip Go Call on my bingo game, I think I'm actually going to work on that one for Whip closest to a finish and just put the 100 stitches in it. So that I get a little more stitched in on that tomorrow. So that's my plan for tomorrow anyway. So that's the stitching for today. Pretty good day considering I got total 509 stitches in on the two projects on a day when I was at the stitching meetup, and am jumping up and down, greeting and talking and running the door prizes and all that kind of stuff. So I don't get to stitch the whole time. I thought it was a pretty productive day, which is great. Well, tomorrow should be a nice quiet day. We have church in the morning, and we'll probably grab a bite to eat for lunch before we get home. And then we have to do preparation. We have to wash up all the dishes, put everything out of the kitchen that we can, because our countertops are being replaced on Monday. We are ready. My husband has painted the walls on the areas above where the countertops are going to be, so that we don't have to worry about dropping paint when we paint the kitchen on our new countertops. And so he's got that done. And the countertops will come in on Monday. And then our plumber is coming by on Tuesday to hook everything back up, to hook the sink and the garbage disposal and the dishwasher back up so that it's done correctly, and to code. And then we will take Coco out to our dog sitter's house, and we will head to see our son. We're going to go to visit the beach for a few days. Our son has made arrangements. He swapped a couple of shifts with a friend so he can be off for 3 days. So we're going to go to the beach for a few days and then pick him up on our way home. And he gets to come home with us and spend a couple of days with us. And then he can drive his car on home now that it's repaired. So I'm excited about that because I have an unexpected trip to the beach and an unexpected time to get to spend 2 or 3 days with my son. I'm thrilled about that. So tomorrow is going to be busy prepping and getting ready for Monday. And then Monday will probably be, once all the kitchen stuff is done, putting everything back in order. Tuesday's going to be packing, and Wednesday we head out. So I have a busy week. So you can see why I want to get my stitching done for my British Bake Off, so I'm not behind. But anyway, I will definitely be taking stitching with me for my trip. And we are driving, and I'll be able to take whatever I want, as much as I want. So I can take whatever I want to work on. It doesn't matter if it's on a roller frame or anything, which will really be exciting, because I think I may wind up taking one of my monthly requirements with me and see if I can't get a lot of stitches in it. I've hit Nativity's monthly requirement, but I haven't even begun either one of my 2 Mirabilias. So I haven't touched Miss Christmas Eve yet this month, and I haven't touched Royal Games 2 yet this month. And so I would like to take at least one of those with me to get some progress, on them. So we'll wait and see. I hope you've had a great weekend. I hope you have a restful day tomorrow, and I hope you get some stitching in. And I have high hopes that I'll have some stitching to share with you tomorrow. We'll see. In the meantime, until we can talk again, happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. It is the 9th of March, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some stitching that I accomplished today. It's been a lovely day. It was cold today. Coco and I waited till much later in the day to walk because it was kind of cold this morning, and of course we had church this morning, but I got a lot of stitching done once I got home after I walked Coco and helped my husband a little bit in our kitchen. We're expecting new countertops to be installed tomorrow, so today was taking out the kitchen sink and taking off the cabinet tops, and the whole kitchen is a wreck. So it was rough. Anyway, I stayed out of my husband's way and let him work, and only went down to help when he needed me. So I tried to keep Coco occupied, but I got a lot of stitching done, and that was great for me. And then tonight I had the pleasure of Zooming with some fellow cross-stitchers, my friend Donna, my friend Lori from Once Upon a Stitch, and our friend Dee Abrams. And today I was working on a couple of different things. The first thing that I was working on was my Let Love Reign, because my British Baking Championship competition game that we're playing. I had to put 75 stitches in Let Love Rain because the stitcher that it was associated with was eliminated, and so I had to do 75 stitches for him. But I had also used Let Love Rain in my Daily 30 acrostic for the T in Crochet Bag, because Let Love Rain's designer is Teresa Kogut, and I used it for her first name, Teresa. So I kept stitching on it today until I got 397 stitches in it, and that way I could meet my acrostic as well. And as it turned out, I had used Let Love Rain in my 24 hours of cross stitch and my monthly magazine challenge acrostic. So wow, 4 things in one. It was great. So let me show you what I did. I completed this house. I had the windows in and the door stitched. Today I did the entire building and roof, and that was 397 stitches. So that was awesome. So the next time I pick this up, I'll come over here and try to replicate this over on this side, get this little flower, and then I can start working on border again. But I thought that was a really good progress on it, and felt really good about that. So then I decided my next piece that I needed to work on for my British Baking Championship game is my December quilt, and I didn't want to work on that while I was Zooming. It was just too difficult for me. It's a Paula Vaughn, and it's a lot of color changes, and so I just thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Then I thought, well, I would like to work on one of my acrostics if I'm not going to do my British Baking stitching today. So I had some time this afternoon, and I thought, well, I'll just pull out one of my acrostics that's not listed, you know, that I would be pulling out for the game. And I looked, and I had used Santa's Workshop. I had used the elf in Santa's Workshop again for all 3 acrostics. So I thought this would be great for me to get started working on this. I've only stitched on it one time or twice. I started it, and then I think I put a little bit of stitching in it. I did the 2 red squares in the corner and the bottom across, and the next time I started the greenery across. So that's where I picked up today, and I needed 300 stitches in it because I had used it for the Daily 30 group. I wound up getting 359 stitches in it tonight. I did stitch on it the whole time that I was Zooming because I started doing the green. I finished the green, and then I went across with this light yellow in the border. And that was an easy enough thing to count and follow to be able to do that while I was talking. So I got another letter in my acrostic finished. And in actuality, it completed my magazine monthly challenge acrostic, which was Sparkle. I needed the E for elf in Santa's Workshop, and that completed that acrostic for me. So I still have 3 letters in the 24 hours of acrostic to do, and I still have 2 letters to work on in my Daily 30. And I still have some monthly requirements to stitch, but it is only the 9th, so I think I'm doing just fine. I'm doing okay. My thoughts are to try to finish stitching for my British Bake Off tomorrow, which means I would pull out my December quilt and get some stitching done for that. And then I may go ahead and watch the next week, because I will be traveling to St. Simons, Georgia, and then we'll pick up our son, and he's going to come back for a short visit with us and pick up his car. And so I want to try to get some of my British baking stitching done rather than try to take all my projects with me. So I'll let you know how that goes tomorrow when I decide what to do. But tomorrow's a busy day. Countertops coming in. we'll be having to start deciding what to take with me for packing for clothes and for stitching. I have already picked 2 things to take with me. I am going to take my letter H from Nora, Corbett, and I'm going to take my Christmas stocking from Beez to try to finish my 3 French hens. So I do know those 2 smalls are going with me. Well, one's a small, one's kind of a medium. But I'd like to get some more progress on them, and they're easy to take with me, and they're both on Q-snaps. And so that'll be easy to work on in the car. So then I'll just let you know what else I come up with. Anyway, it's been a great day. Thanks for letting me share that with you today. And I hope to be back and share some more with you soon. I may wind up adding this to what I've already got filmed, and it may be enough to complete a little video for you. So if it is, this will be the last segment you see for this video. And that will be great, because then my next video will start on a Monday at the beginning of a week, and I'd have a trip to share with you and a lot of good information. So in the meantime, until I'm back to talk to you again, happy stitching, everybody.
Where's your bugs at? Where are the bugs? Where are the bugs?